I'll just touch on the economic aspects, just about the past a little bit, before I get on to the humanitarian side of it. We have been a country which has emerged through a lot of difficulty, especially the year 2008 and 2009. From the point of view of the economic challenges, were times that were the most difficult. And whilst fighting a war, whilst ensuring that the morale of the country, as Palitha quite rightly mentioned, is maintained, it was even more challenging, because if you make a mistake and you find that the economy was going to be in trouble, many of the other aspects of life would have not been possible for us to maintain the way we did. So it was vital that we do so, and I believe it was as a result of the tremendous leadership that was provided by the executive president that we were able to achieve that. Let me recall just 2 or 3 of the incidents of the past. There was a time when the global shock was felt right across the world, and we found that there was a massive flight of capital that was taking place from Asia back to Europe and to the US. When that happened, all the countries underwent this tremendous shock, and the currencies of those countries underwent amazing volatility. Some countries lost their value, currencies lost their value by about 30 to 40%. Now, Sri Lanka also went through the same shock. Now, there were 2 choices available to us. One was to give in to the shock. We could have given in to the shock, which would have meant we would have maintained our reserves at a certain level. We would have allowed our currency to depreciate, and there would have been a currency not at 108 or 112, it would have been at 140 or 150. Can you just imagine what would have been the repercussions of such a situation? If our currency had had a parity against the dollar at 150, what would it have done to a cost of living? What would it have done as far as our trade is concerned? What would it have done for the purchases that we had to make for the war? What would it have done to the general stability of our economy? So we took a firm decision. The president gave us the courage to take that decision and said, you maintain stability at whatever cost. It is like this. Let's say you save money and you have certain amount of savings. And then at some stage, your child falls sick. What would you do? Will you say, my savings are important to me, I will maintain my savings, doesn't matter whatever happens to my child, because my savings are so important? I don't think you would do that. You would use your savings to get your child back to normalcy and to get him back to proper health. A country also has option of that nature. When you are faced with a crisis, when you are faced with something foreign which is attacking you, you have to use your reserves, which are your savings, in order to deal with that. So we did that. And if you take your minds back, ladies and gentlemen, you would remember certain economists, certain politicians, what hue and cry they raised. This shouldn't happen. They should let these things happen any way the markets wish it to work. And then they found fault with us, the president, myself, the finance ministry, for taking those actions. But we were proved finally that it was the right decision, because we were able to maintain stability. If in September, October, November, December of 2008, we had allowed the economy to get into trouble, what would have been the situation with regards to the war? General Savendra Silva and them fought so bravely. So many of our young lives were lost, and we had to deal with that enemy at that time, and we had to ensure that whilst that humanitarian effort was going on, that the economy here is kept stable without any volatility, so that we could move forward without any difficulty for the forces out there. The second one was when the global crisis hit and many of the banks started collapsing. We also had a situation of that nature, And if you take your mind back to the UK situation, there was the Northern Rock Bank, which was in difficulty. And it took them 4 to 5 days for the Prime Minister of the UK and the Governor of the Central Bank in the UK, who is called the Governor of the Bank of England, for them to agree on a formula to come to rescue these banks. And while that was happening, the queues were formed, and finally the government and the Bank of England had to pump more than 25 billion pounds in order to rescue that one bank. Many banks like that collapsed all over the world. Incidentally, 25 billion pounds is more than the entire GDP of our country. That is the magnitude of the support scheme that they had to introduce in order to safeguard just one bank. We also had a crisis. But when the crisis occurred, very quickly we responded, particularly because permission as well as a direction to undertake that rescue mission was provided by the President himself. So I saw an advertisement in today's newspapers where the President was described as the Commander-in-Chief not only of the forces, but also as the Commander-in-Chief of the economy. And that, my dear friends, is the reality, because whilst the war was being handled in the past at the Vanni and at all the other theatres where the humanitarian efforts were taking place, there was another war that was going on this side, which ensured that stability was maintained. Stability was maintained in the same way that Dr. Kohona mentioned. That is the foreign side of it, the foreign ministry, the diplomatic efforts, all that was essential. The human rights, you know the amount of people who were crying foul about human rights in various fora, trying to bring Sri Lanka to the war crimes and this and that. But all those were dealt with. The legal processes were there. The people who were involved in those other areas were active, but they were all given leadership for this effort.